everyone, it's Gwen. Welcome back to my channel. And wow, it has been a long time since I've sat down and filmed a video for you guys. At least it really feels like a while. I have not sat down and made a proper sit-down video for you guys in probably a month. Yeah, I think literally a month. Obviously, I've posted some concert vlogs here and there, but I do, just before this video starts, want to apologize for the lack of content. It's a super busy time for me right now with school and college applications and sports, and there's just been a ton going on. Also, I work on the weekends, so it's been busy. I did kind of warn you guys about this at the end of summer, so I'm sorry for missing a few weeks. Once my applications go in and once, it's end of November, I should get more free time. And also, by the time December starts, it'll be Vlogmas, so get excited for that. But yes, I'm gonna try to make more videos. Honestly, it's not even been that, I don't have ideas or anything. It's just been the fact that I haven't had time to film. I've had ideas, and I've had kind of nights where I could possibly edit, but I've had no time to, set up my camera, sit down, and film a video. So this has been a while. It's been a while, but I'm very excited for today's video because, as you can tell from the title, today I'm reviewing the new album by Knuckle, Shapeshifter. If you guys have been following my channel for a while, you will know that Knuckle is one of my favorite bands. They're my favorite pop punk band. I love them so much. I am a huge fan. I've met them before, and they're the sweetest guys in the entire world, and I just literally love them. They're one of my favorite bands of all time. I am a huge fan. Copacetic is one of my favorite albums of all time. It was one of my favorite albums of 2015 and also of last year because I was just listening to it a ton last year. I literally have it framed on my wall, so you guys know how much I love Copacetic. I love their other EPs, and I just love pretty much everything they've released, so I was super excited for their new album, Shapeshifter. This album has 10 songs, so like usual for my album reviews, I'm just gonna go through each of the tracks and give my thoughts and opinions. My typical disclaimer, obviously I'm not a music critic, I'm just sharing my opinions and thoughts because you guys probably know I'm a huge fan of Knuckle, and I think you guys are a little interested in my thoughts on this new album of theirs. So without further ado, let's get started. So starting off with the first track on the album, Nervous Passenger. This song is only a minute and a half, and I really like how they open the album with this track. I think it opens the album in a really cool way. I love how the song starts off with, you can hear the metro train and the announcer, and obviously, they're from Chicago, they're from the south side of Chicago, and as some of you guys might know, I was born in Chicago. It's my favorite city. I love visiting there. I love the city, and when I realized that they put the announcement from the metro train in this song, I was so shook. The first time I heard this, for some reason, it didn't really register. I know it's a little quiet in the beginning, but I just did not hear it the first time I listened to the album. But then I listened to it again, and I noticed that I could hear, the announcer from the metro saying something, and I literally freaked out when I heard what it was saying. I literally screamed. My mom was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Guess what Knuckle did?" I was like, "They did that!" So I literally tweeted them. I was like, "You guys did not put the Chicago Metro announcer voice in your song." And John, the drummer, saw it and he liked it. I was just like, I was so shook when I heard this. But basically what they do is, as a lot of you guys know, they have the announcer saying, "Roosevelt is next. Doors open on the left at Roosevelt." And also the funniest thing about that is that I always mimic that voice. Not always, but I don't know, if someone says something like California, I'm like, "Doors open on the right at California." Because I've taken that train obviously a lot when I go and visit there. And so I just love that they put that on there because I love Chicago and I love that. I thought that was the coolest thing. And also Roosevelt is a stop on the south side. They're from the south side of Chicago. And if you've noticed, their new picture on Spotify, their new banner, is them all sitting on a bench in front of the Roosevelt metro stop. So I'm assuming that maybe that's a stop, that they get off a lot near where they live on the south side. And I don't know, I think it's cool to kind of add more about Chicago and about their roots. And as I talk about this album, you will notice they actually add a ton about Chicago in this album, little lines and stuff about Chicago, which I really love. So I just love how the song starts the rumbling of the train and all that, and it's just a really nice minute and a half song to start the album off with. The second song on the album is Twist. Now to me, this sounds like a really old Knuckle song. It just sounds like something from Where I Stay Secluded or The Way That You Buried. It sounds like it'd be something from a really old EP, maybe even their Don't Come Home EP, just something really old. And I think it's because of the instrumentation, honestly. I think it just sounds kind of like a classic Knuckle song. This song doesn't really sound very new to me, though I do still enjoy it. It just really reminds me of old Knuckle and kind of a classic pop punk sound, which I don't dislike. Then on to their third song, Double Helix. This is a very catchy single, probably the most catchy song on the album because the chorus is just kind of them repeating, "I don't want your double helix," like over and over. And I like how they use the phrase double helix to represent DNA. It's a song about Joe wanting to change who he is. He's like, I don't want your double helix. He doesn't want this DNA that he has. And one of the lines is actually, can I rewrite my code? So he's obviously talking about the code of DNA. I think it's a fun song, it's very catchy. I enjoy it, I think it sounds very new and fresh for them. The fourth song on the album is Gone, which was the first real single of the album, I believe, and my favorite single on the album. I just like the beginning of this song, like it's kind of just really a bop. Like I love singing along to this song, it's very fun. I also love, and you guys will know, if you guys saw my reaction video to this song a few months ago when it came out, you guys know how much I freaked out when they mentioned Shapeshifter, the word in this song. Because there's a part in the bridge when they say the word shapeshifter. Because, you know, it just connects the whole album together. You just hear Joe going, shapeshifter. And I literally, I freaked out when I first heard that, when I first heard the single, because, you know, I just love stuff like that. I love when artists can connect the album together in that kind of way. I literally freaked out when I heard that. And I like how Joe's voice is so soft during that part as well. It's just very relaxing. So this is a very, very fun song to sing along to. If you're trying to get into this album, listen to Gone. It's a good single. I think it was very smart for them to choose that as the first single because I think it's one of the best songs on the album, definitely like one of the strongest. The fifth song is Everyone Lies to Me, and I didn't really notice this till I kind of read more up on the lyrics, but this song is actually about society and the government changing and kind of like how they're changing the new generation and pushing them to do new things, and I love that. It reminds me a lot of Neck Deep's new album, you know, The Peace and the Panic. That one had a lot to do with the government and the world and stuff like that, and I like how they did write a song about society and the government, and there's a line that says, "Our dreams are murdered by the mortgage every first of the month." I really like that. I feel like a lot of teens and especially young adults can probably really relate to that line and this song as a whole. I just like how they're writing about stuff like that. I feel like usually they kind of write about life and love mostly, but I don't know, to hear a song about the societal, like government part of it, it was very interesting. I think that's definitely a growth aspect of the band. You know, they're talking about these new topics in their music, and I really love that. I like they're talking about that. The song has a very intense beginning as well. Just with the instrumentation, it kind of jumps at you, and then with Joe and Nick screaming in the beginning, it certainly draws you in. You can tell that they're very angry. It's one of the heavier songs on the album and also one of my favorite songs on the album. Next, for the sixth song, we have Stuck in Our Ways. This song is about being addicted to recreational drugs because simply everyone in society kind of does it and it's like a fad, you know? And I like that, and I like, this is another topic I like they're talking about. And I like when they say, Joe says, "We will never come back down," because, you know, he's kind of talking about how everyone's just like high all the time. I know they mention like cigarettes and smoking a lot, and yeah, I like it. I think it has a fun, catchy chorus. Once again, I like that they're talking about a new topic in this album. The seventh song is Want Me Around. I'm pretty sure this was the last single they released. This one is just so fun to like sing along to. Once again, it's one of my favorites on the album because of that reason. It's like slow, but it's still, you know, sort of upbeat, so like I can still sing along to it, but it's not super fast. I don't know, I just enjoy singing along with this one. Once again, they reference Chicago in this one when they say, "When the lake is freezing cold and the city's underground." Obviously they're talking about Lake Michigan and it's the city being Chicago, you know, like, I feel that, I get that. And I don't know, I really like when they talk about Chicago and stuff like that, and they kind of put a little bit about their hometown in there. I also love how this song goes back and forth between Joe and Nick during the verses. I feel like you hear Nick so much more in this album, and especially in this song. And I love how, you know, you hear him screaming, then Joe screaming, and they're really talking back and forth. And I don't know, I really enjoy that. This song is obviously about, you know, wanting to check in on someone that you probably had like a friendship or a relationship with at some point, and you want to ask them how they're doing, but you feel like they don't care, they don't want you around anymore. You know, you just feel like something's off or something has changed in the relationship. And I feel like that's another topic that I think could be very relatable with teens and young adults and stuff like that. And yeah, I really love this song. Number 8 is Conduit, which is definitely the slowest song on the album. A song that I'm not surprised that the song's on the album, but I'm a little surprised of the placement. I don't know, I'm surprised that they waited so long, like, in the album to put it somewhere, if that makes sense. Like, they put it pretty far back in the album. The beginning sounds and the guitar totally remind me of something from Copacetic. Like, it sounds a lot like Untitled or Ponder, a song like that. It really reminds me of Knuckle Puck in general, like, this totally sounds like it would be a Knuckle Puck song because of that, and I like how they brought that back, because that was an aspect of Copacetic that I always really enjoyed, was, you know, I don't know, like, the part where that same one single sound would keep coming in throughout the album, and I liked how that one relaxing part kind of came in, and I don't know, I was hoping that they would have a song that was slow on this album, like just one slow song, and I really enjoy it. I love how this song tells a story as well, you know, the verses are really telling a story throughout it, and I like how the soft sounds finish the song and then kind of fade out. I think it's nice. And then we go into the 9th song on the album called Wait, and the transition from Conduit to Wait is so nice. Just like flawless. It's really soothing to the ears, it's very nice. It does that because Wait also begins with a nice soft guitar part as well. Once again, they bring up Chicago in this song too, when Joe says, "So I took the red line out to see you." He's talking about the red line on the train, the loop, you know? And I think that's cute. Also, Roosevelt is a part of the red line, so connections. There we go. This song talks a lot about seasons, which I think show that it's definitely a turning point in the album. It's a shift, if you may. You know, Shapeshifter, a shift. No? Okay, I'm sorry. But yeah, I think that this song, you know, is definitely a change in the album. A change, though, that once again, I'm surprised is so far back in the album. Like, I feel like usually a song in the album where you change is like either halfway through or like 75% way through. This is like 90% of the way through the album, and then we finally get a change. But maybe that's because, you know, Joe and the rest of them are showing that it took them a while to get to that change. So, once again, I really like this song. There isn't really a song on this album that I dislike, and I enjoy this one. I know that this is actually, I think, a big fan favorite on the album, because there was a thing I saw on Twitter, and you know how when you're crossing the street and like there's that button for the arrow, you hit it, and it goes, wait, wait. Someone made a tweet that was like, when someone asks what your favorite Knuckle Puck song off of Shapeshifter is, and it's like a video of someone going, wait. So I don't know, and a lot of people retweeted that, so I feel like that's probably a popular song. This isn't my favorite on the album, but I definitely do really enjoy it. And finally ending the album with the 10th song, Plastic Brains. I like how the title is literally in like the first line of the song, so I don't know, I always know that it's that song, and I like it. The song is about people changing with time because of the relationships they're in, and you know, it's kind of about Joe trying to find himself again. Like, he's went through this whole journey throughout the album of him, you know, struggling with a relationship with someone, you know, not knowing who he is, not knowing if they want him around, you know, and then I think he finally gets to this point where he realizes that, you know, being in a relationship is going to change you. Could be for the better, could be for the worse, but I think he's kind of accepting the fact that he has changed because of this relationship. And I really like it. I also like how a girl sings in the background of the song and like throughout the song. I don't know who she is, there's nobody really featured on the song, but there's a very light girl voice that happens in the beginning and then again at the end. The last minute of this song is my favorite because the music gets slower and slower, and you hear Joe and the girl both say, "Is there any trace left of me?" And it's almost like they're both realizing they've both changed because of this relationship. And I think it ends the album on a really cool note, kind of a closure note, if that's a way to describe it. I don't know, it's like, you know, you're listening to this whole album, you're understanding what their relationship is like, and then to hear both of them at the end both say, "Is there anything left of me?" I think it's kind of, you know, comforting and just kind of put an aspect of closure to the album. But I do like that ending song, and I like that that's the way that they chose to end it. So there are all the songs on Knuckle Puck's new album, Shapeshifter. Overall, I really do like this album. I'm not gonna lie, once again, because this is just me as always, after first listen, I wasn't totally blown away by the album. You know, I'm comparing it to Copacetic, which to me is like a literal work of art. Like, no album will ever replace that album. No Knuckle Puck album specifically, you know. And I honestly didn't think they were gonna top Copacetic, and did it top Copacetic? I don't think so. I have heard some people say that they're a little disappointed because of this album, but others, you know, say they love it because they weren't that big of a fan of Copacetic. I think it really depends on the person, obviously. I feel like Copacetic was a little harder of an album. Joe didn't scream as much, but the instrumentation, I think, was definitely harder in that album. I think there was a bit more of a roller coaster in that album. You know, Ponder was put in there, you end with Untitled, things like Pretense are in the album. Versus this kind of has a pretty nice flow. It doesn't really change, you know, that much until the end when you hear things like Conduit and Wait and eventually Plastic Brains. But other than that, like before the album, definitely like the first like 60% of the album is pretty much like the same, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying that the songs flow together in any way. Each song is unique. I can hear the differences in the songs, but I just feel like the energy is the same until you hit like the last 20 to 30% of the album, and then there's a little bit of shifting, which is fine. I don't dislike it. I definitely really enjoy this album. I think it's going to be one of my favorites from this year. I'm probably going to end up getting it on vinyl, you know, and honestly, like most albums, the more I listen to it, the more I like it. Now, there were a few things that I kind of wish could be on this album. Now, if you didn't know, Pretense is my favorite song by Knuckle, specifically because Nick has that really cool part where he isn't singing, he isn't screaming, but he's talking. And I love that part of the song. That's one of the reasons it's my favorite song by them, because I just love singing along and kind of talking along to that. It's a very beautiful, poetic part of the song, and I was really hoping that there would be a song that had that in there on this album, and there really isn't. There isn't a lot of talking on this album. However, Nick does do more screaming, like I said before. You know, there's songs where it's him screaming, then Joe screaming, and they're going back and forth, and I really do like that a lot. I think that they need to add more Nick into that, because one of the reasons I love Pretense is because Nick is in most of the song. He talks in the song more than Joe does, and he screams in the song. So I like that they did get to add him in there. We got to hear more Nick, you know, talking and stuff, because he's super talented, a very talented screamer, and of course a talented guitar player as well. But I do like how we got to hear a bit more of Nick and Joe together, because I think when you put their voices together, it sounds really cool, because they both scream, but in different ways. So it's cool when they harmonize and kind of scream and sing together, but I do wish that we got to hear more of, I don't know, the talking aspect, especially because Knuckle is known kind of for writing very beautiful poetic lyrics, and that's another thing I like to talk about is the lyricism of this album. You know, I was reading some of the lyrics this morning and, you know, learning new things. It's hard to kind of hear the lyrics sometimes when you just listen to an album first all the way through, because you're more focusing on the instrumentation and stuff like that, but I definitely am very impressed by their poetry in this album. I think it's great. I think that they are getting better as writers, and they're improving, and they're, you know, you can really hear the progression in their band and the writing and the instrumentation. In terms of lyrics though, I don't know, I think I like the lyrics a bit more in Copacetic, but that might change though once I learn these songs a little more, because right now I really don't know them very well, especially not the verses, and the verses is where, you know, the really nice poetic stuff tends to happen. So far, I think I like Copacetic better, but that doesn't mean I'm hating on this album. I totally love Shapeshifter, and as usual, I'm extremely proud of Knuckle. You know, they're really soaring right now. They're going on their first real headlining tour for this album. They're on it right now. Unfortunately, I can't go and see it because they're not coming here, and, you know, with it being a very, very crucial time for me in school, I can't drive somewhere to go see them right now. It's not gonna happen. So for those who are wondering if I'm going to see them on this tour, no, I'm not. If they do a spring headlining tour, you bet I'll be there. Which sucks. It sucks I can't go because the lineup is amazing. So if you are able to go, please go. You're having the chance to see so many amazing bands. Like, what is it? It's Home Safe, with Con, Movements, and the Knuckle. Like, that is literally an amazing lineup. I wish I could go, but it's all cool. It's cool, and just overall, I'm very proud of them for going on this headlining tour. And I think the album was number 50 on the Billboard charts, which is amazing for them. They're doing all these music videos. This album is definitely bringing them a lot more fans, and they deserve it because they are so, so talented. So if you have just found Knuckle because of Shapeshifter and you've just gotten into them, first off, good choice, congratulations. Second off, go listen to Copacetic, because I'm kind of curious to see what people think of this versus Copacetic, because this is, you know, their sophomore album, and Copacetic was their debut full length, and I feel like people who listen to Copacetic first like that better than Shapeshifter, but I feel like what I've been hearing is the people that have found them from Shapeshifter tend to like that better than Copacetic, which, you know, I feel like that's like a common thing for bands. You know, whatever allowed you to get into them, you usually like that better than the old stuff. But I kind of want to hear what you guys who found them from Shapeshifter think, and also I'd like to hear what you guys who just, you know, have always been a fan of them, found them from Copacetic like I did, think about this album. But other than that, those are my thoughts on Knuckle new sophomore album, Shapeshifter. As usual, like I said, I think it's an amazing album. I'm super, super proud of these guys. They're so talented, and I love them. I'm a huge fan of them, and I always will be. They have a way with words, a way with sounds, and they're just really genuine, nice guys. If you guys are able to see them on this tour and you guys can meet them and talk to them at the end, do so, because they're literally the sweetest guys in the entire world. They love to talk to their fans. They're so down to earth, and I love them. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. I'm going to try to post some more for you guys as much as I can, so just please be patient with me. But if you guys ever want to chat with me about music, you guys can always tweet me, DM me on Instagram. I'm always up for talking about tunes. And please leave me a comment down below letting me know what your thoughts are on Knuckle Puck's new album, Shapeshifter. Let me know, do you like it more than Copacetic? Do you think it's the best thing they've done so far? What are your favorite songs on the album? And all that kind of stuff, and we can have a really fun conversation down there. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye!